It seems like nowadays in Hollywood, they really struggle to write a compelling female action hero. From Rey Skywalker to Carol Danvers, female protagonists are portrayed as Mary Sue characters who unrealistically lack flaws and weaknesses, and this is incredibly boring. It is not sexist to consider this notion, as for example many of the 80s male action films lack depth of the main character. I would argue however that Hollywood has been able to write compelling female action heroes, and they perfected it by the last century. What makes James Cameron's Aliens and Terminator 2 Judgment Day so special is not just the fact that they are both considered some of the best action films of all time, but they both uniquely have a woman as the main protagonist. So if these two films are so universally revered, sexism must play a much smaller role in the hatred of current female protagonists. Hollywood must have just forgotten how to write interesting female action heroes. One of the biggest female stars in Hollywood right now, Emily Blunt, stated that the strong female lead label is the worst thing ever, and those scripts make her roll her eyes. So it seems like nowadays, Hollywood is trying to shove down our throats that the female identity of being feminine and weaker than men is outdated, and that females should be represented as just as strong as men in film. The issue that lies here is clearly the forceful nature of it. James Cameron managed to make his female action heroes kick ass in a very organic, believable way, and here's how. Both Ellen Ripley and Sarah Connor's kicking ass ability is actually supplementary to the story, rather than the main focus. Both characters have an actual character arc to them, and this is what brilliantly hooks the viewer. They have to actually struggle in the film. They are not just unexplainably badasses from the get-go, and this is what modern Hollywood seems to forget in the representation of women. It's boring. We want to be entertained, not lectured. Ripley starts off in Alien as a stoic, reserved character, but it's her resilience and problem solving that makes her the sole survivor of the Nostromo. She then in the second film has frequent nightmares on a PTSD level of her previous experience. Not only does she overcome this, but because of her stoic nature, she also has to learn how to properly care for another human being. Ellen's hardship and struggles makes the payoff all the more satisfying. Sarah Connors is a character who in the second Terminator film has been sectioned. She isn't believed by anyone, and is written off as a lunatic. The struggle of Sarah Connor is shown by her escaping the prison she is confined in, which is mostly ran by men. Statistically, men are on average stronger than women, but Cameron brilliantly has Connor use objects and also her environment to hold her own and overthrow the men. She uses police batons, syringes with poison, and locking prison doors to show that she's able to hold her own, which is similar to Ellen Ripley in the way that she uses the exosuit cargo loader and the airlock to defeat the alien queen. A lot of the time in action films, the female character is represented as weak and is stereotypically identified as the female companion because of this. But these two films don't do that at all. If anything, both these films have a pretty equal representation of both the males and females in the movie. Laura Mulvey's female gaze theory does not even apply in these movies. Neither Ripley or Connors are just there for show, and they are both their own characters first and foremost. You don't link the identity aspect to these characters of them being female. This in my opinion makes them equal to men, as they are represented just as well as the male action hero. These two movies are blatant proof that Hollywood can represent women equally to men. And in the end, their identities of them being labelled as female are completely forgotten.